How do you feel when people say they don't like him? What do you wish they knew about him?
That he's really a family man. He loves his family. He loves this country.
I understand that Melania Trump knows Trump in ways that we do not. Most of them bad, I'm sure. And I understand more importantly that she has some contractual obligations. But GT and also FO when it comes to all of it. No, you don't understand. He loves his family. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't love them at all. I'm just saying that if you were to rank the things that he loves, it wouldn't rank highly. And even that would obscure the real issue. Because if you were to like pie chart the things that he loves, what percentage of that pie do you think? First of all, pie definitely has more of that pie than family does in that pie chart. For me as well, we have that in common. But
it's more of an admission by John.
It's more of an admission. But come on.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
It would be naive of me to say, like, wouldn't it be great if people lied less in public life? It's never gonna happen that we're not gonna have liars. We're always gonna have a lot of liars and they're always gonna lie a lot. But imagine if there were fewer of them and they lied less. She definitely doesn't think that about Donald Trump. And I understand that if you're thinking about who to vote for or whatever and you're still undecided, first of all, Jesus, but also, him being a family man or not probably is not the most important thing to you, although some of you conservatives pretend that it is, and clearly it isn't. But come on, he's definitely not a family man. We can run through some of the examples. Melania may not know about this, although I think that she does. He's had like a lot of affairs, like a ton of affairs, and not just on her, and previous ones. And there's just affairs going back decades, and there's just graphic stuff. And we're gonna be playing one of the ads from someone who had a sexual assault run-in with him. He's been accused of a couple dozen women accusing him of sexual assault, and he weirdly snubbed Tiffany at the RNC. It's not a major thing. It was kind of Ted Cruzian, but it was notable to me. He reportedly didn't want his first son named after him, saying, quote, "What if he's a loser?" Which is not how dads who care about their families talk. And he also forgot both Eric and Laura in his victory speech. And by the way, at many of these events, Melania didn't show up because whether he's a family man or not, she doesn't seem to care about him as a part of her family because she's mostly avoided him over the last 6 months or so. And so again, we're starting off this discussion of her rare interview with the least important part, but the most obvious lie, Brett.
Right. There's two interesting aspects of this. One is, do I believe it? And second is like, why is it important? Like, what is the actual interesting part of it? Do I believe it? I do believe that Donald Trump probably loves his family more than he lets on, but it presents in ways that are completely non-conventional. But I still don't believe that he has a functional relationship with his own wife. His daughter doesn't show up on the campaign trail because basically it all ruined her life. She is done with it. She has turned her back on him. I did a whole video about this. It did very well. That Ivanka screwed her dad over big time because she's the only one who can actually kind of convince normal people that there is some kind of family connection. But his daughter and his wife, it just doesn't pass the smell test. But what's important about this to me, it's like you can believe or not believe whether behind this, like no one knows anyone's personal relationship. We all have that friend where we're like, your girlfriend is ruining you. She's terrible, but you don't realize that behind the scenes, they probably function quite well. Like that happens. But really what it comes down to is people that are gonna see this interview, there are gonna be millions of Americans who are like, you see, it's a perfect family. It doesn't pass the smell test. And then if there was someone on the other side running against Trump, someone that they don't, quote, like, and that person had 1/1,000,000th of the track record that Donald Trump very publicly, very proudly, very undeniably has with basically betraying his vows that these people profess to be sacred, they would jump down that person's throat and call them the devil. Like people are still talking about the fact that Kamala Harris had a relationship with Willie Brown 5,000 years ago. And then they see what's actually what undeniably is a supportive family, a cohesive modern family unit. that functions and is happy, that is kind of in many ways analogous to Donald Trump's situation, but bizarro good. And they're going to deny that that's a functional relationship only because they don't like her, because Kamala Harris is on the other side. And that is hypocrisy. And hypocrisy is an indicator of tribalism. And every time you find tribalism making you into a hypocrite, you should take a second look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, you should internally. And also, if you see others doing it, it should bother you at least a little bit, I think. I loved your reference to the Willie Brown thing, that like, if we're gonna, and I'm not saying we have to, but if in politics we're gonna care about like how someone's relationships affect their politics, what it says about them, if we're gonna get that involved, the like Olympus Mons of Trump to, I think she shouldn't have dated that guy 30 years ago. Like that's not even both sidesing. That's literal mountain molehill stuff. And you see it in other areas too. Like if you are gonna claim that you care about the military and support the troops and all that, and then you've done that for decades, and now you're okay with Trump and everything he's done more disrespecting of the military than every other prominent candidate we've ever experienced combined. But Tim Walz, he made a claim that made it sound as if he was personally in war after serving for 2.5 decades in the National Guard. So he's worse on the military than Trump. It's like, I've talked for a long time about get out of thinking free cards. This is beyond even that. It's like, we are gonna have this one fleck that means you don't have to pay attention to the mountain in your own eye. It's a biblical thing, I don't know. But it does bother me. It is worse than hypocrisy. Does not come close to describing it. Is my issue.
Only thing I'll add is you should have said Olympus Mons Pubis. That's it. But I agree with everything. I love it. It's like
it was already nerdy enough.
Listen, anyway. Tim Walz, the vice presidential candidate, hates the military because he stopped after 24 years instead of 25 years. Donald Trump loves the military after saying that he doesn't respect the service done by John McCain, and he very obviously dodged the draft because of bone spurs, which means he quit the military before serving in the military.
Yeah, he pre-quit.
And everything he's done is not in service of anyone but himself. And it's so 100%. Obvious. And people rally around it because they want to serve themselves and they like him because he's a star.
Yeah. We could get into all the different things that have led to his support, but yeah, everything else it has to be like, if I like him for this, then everything else must be great, because that's how reality works. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.